Good morning. Give me a sec to find the video. Give me a moment. I'm gonna be talking about some of the things I've been posting about this morning. Give me a moment to summon my friends. Good morning, guys. I want to talk a little bit about Egyptians and the Romans. Only because I feel that it's very relevant to where we're all at now. I find all this stuff very relevant to how we kind of evolved out of these places and these systems in Egypt and kind of ended up where we're at now. I want to talk a little bit about, and I'm going to try not to, but the Bible in this conversation too, because it's very important as to where it came from. A lot of it came from Egypt too. So we see a lot of the same symbolism. I was doing some looking into, because I'm very familiar with birds or the eagle in native type of cultures, and I'm noticing a similarity between a lot of spiritual cultures, whether it's India, Egypt, right? A lot of these spiritual practices seem to have come from the same places on so many levels. You can look at the symbolism of the snake. We see that in India a lot, but we also see it in Egypt and a lot of other pyramid type cultures. All right, so we always talk about the pillars. I'm going to start there, right? I'm going to start there. The pillars are very symbolic of a divide between our lower self, our animalistic self, and our higher self on so many levels. We see a lot of the Egyptian art would depict, this journey we go through, which is to conquer the lower self to become our higher selves on a lot of levels. We see that through a lot of their staff symbolism too, on a lot of levels. We see the pillars now, I say. I'm always seeing pillars. In the Masonic type cultures, we see a lot of the eye pillars on our dollar bill. So we think that we've evolved it out of thinking of bird gods, but we see the eagle on the American dollar bill, right? Bird gods. So what happened was there was a divide, a cultural divide in Egypt between the lower and upper regions of Egypt, right? Very symbolic of our lower self and our higher selves on so many levels. It would have been the law of one, and the first god was Atum-Ra, that was said to be a creator god of Egypt. He was very popular at the time, but there was also a divide. Ra would have been a new concept that would have, united those regions, which is very symbolic of coming back to oneness, using this spiritual knowledge to live in harmony and peace and, end the division on so many levels. There was a point in time where Egypt, kind of shifted focus from these gods back to the law of one. Back to the same stuff we're into now. You don't need gods and deities, and the path is within you, and the same kind of knowledge that we're kind of trying to bring here now. About 300 BC would have been when the Romans conquered Egypt, they say, according to Google this morning. I'm not a historian, there's no way to accurately check those dates. According to Google, it would have been about 300 BC. I find that very interesting, because this would have been a time when these cultures were worshiping these deities, such as Ra, Isis, Osiris, Horus, and things like that. So they came, they plundered the country, they did what they did, they killed everyone, right? Took all the artifacts, went back to Europe with them, Rome, right? And then they took that and wrote the Bible. Yes, is there a familiarity? Adam, first man, Atum-Ra. Horus, right, the virgin son of the deities, and so on and so forth. And, they really did a good job of trying to hide Egyptian history. It brings us to the point, why would they try so hard to cover up our history? Well, they took it and they changed it to fit their agenda. So that's why they have covered up our history, to the extent that when I go to these museums and we saw the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the real one, it was mislabeled. They do a really good job of trying to bury any type of history from that time, though. But we see that these concepts are still alive and well, because we see the Illuminati version of the third eye on the dollar bill. We see a lot of the pyramid symbolism and the same kind of symbolism from those times. Hi, Jenny. So there should be a familiarity between the mythology stories and other cultures and the Bible. We call it biblical plagiarism, historical plagiarism. Happens all the time. We see that with the Romans, the Greeks, the Egyptians. We see these similar stories about these deities. Even, Poseidon was taken from Atlantean knowledge. And, you see Poseidon and Neptune, which are the same ruler within the Roman and the Greek mythology system. And those were both taken from Atlantean times, the concepts. Good morning, guys. We're talking Egypt today. So, they made some mistakes, though. Horus was a falcon, not an eagle. So they go to Egypt, they conquer them, they see what they're doing, right? They see what their religious practices are, spiritual practices are. They conquer them, destroy their nation. And then they decide that they're going to take some of the stuff they're using that's working, right? But they've turned it into an eagle. An eagle is actually a symbol of control, world leaders, things like that. So it has a different kind of connotation, but it was a ripoff of the same Horus that they, also wrote the Bible over. I think it's important we understand the Roman system because we're living under it still. Yeah, they conquered and enslaved the world and never went anywhere. See, there was a thing with this Bible that it made, sorry, I had to tell if it was the door. They have this Bible. It made it so that, Rome is in possession of the Vatican nowadays. I look at Rome like it's in possession of the Vatican, right? It's its asset. That's where it's located. And so it gave Rome a lot of power too, more than the Queen. I always said that they could appeal to. This is God's law. This is God's law. You're going to hell if you don't do what we want, and things like that. So it gave them a lot more power too. That was their total goal, to use fear and coercion for this stuff. So, in past times, this same knowledge was meant to liberate people, to give us spiritual understanding, so that the initiate could, elevate faster, purify faster, things like that. But this same knowledge was used to really enslave people in the mind on so many levels. Good morning, Cynthia. I'm just talking a little bit about Egypt. I wanted to come say hi, though. I wasn't feeling like doing videos today. I'm going to push past it and come say hi. I think that there were a lot of amazing pyramids. I've been putting a lot of posts up on the wall. There's a lot of amazing pyramids globally, not just with Egypt and things like that. We can see pyramids are a theme globally on these ley line structures, and they all really kind of go hand in hand. Hi guys, we're doing the Awakening to Ascension class on here, and it's going really good. We're having Francisco do it, so I got him to agree to come do Mystery School of Atlantis too, this class. So he's going to start doing videos on it too and help teach him with this class, and I'm really thrilled about it too. Alright. So I want to talk a little bit about, I want to go back to Aton Ra. I'll always say the name's wrong. Aton Ra evolving to Ra. Because, it's really funny to me. I see a lot of other channelings and work, I'll say pieces of work that really kind of talk about there was a time when, Ra may have been a collective consciousness group from space that could have come here to teach. And I see a lot of similarity between their shift to other deities that may have been from the stars. That may have been teachers from the stars or Atlantis, I'm not really sure. And I see a common theme between some of the native cultures and India as well, where a lot of the native cultures talk about star people coming to teach them that would return. I always thought that the blue star Kachina was very, reminiscent of either Pleiadian or Syrian type of stuff being taught on this planet. And I always, looked at it like as the return of the star people, us, the star seeds coming back to teach on a lot of levels. But you see a lot of similarities across the world between different cultures. And, Egypt was taught from the masters of Atlantis that would have split up and would have gone to some of these places like Tibet, India, to teach the Mayans and places like that. So all of the knowledge is pretty one and the same with Atlantis kind of stuff. Yes, we talk about Lemuria too, but not. I don't talk about it as much. Atlantis was higher levels of consciousness, believe it or not. I know everyone likes to think of it as the opposite, but Atlantis actually had reached, much higher levels of consciousness on this planet. I've been putting some posts up on it too. Good morning. You guys had to tell me what you want to hear about, right? I just download random stuff. Random stuff I may have interest in my own life. You'll have to let us know what you want us to talk about. I think it's pretty cool that Francisco's been to the pyramids and some of these ley line areas like me, right, on our path, even asleep getting led around this matrix. So I don't know how I could describe it to people, but these ley lines have been pulling me and calling me for a while as a grid worker and as, an energy worker on every level. The pyramids were to heal people. They were to help raise up consciousness and raise up frequencies. But we can tell that the Schumann resonance is changing. The frequencies have changed a lot since Egyptian times on this planet, right? So they're no longer functional in the same way that they would have been back then. They would have been like an ultimate generator that if you were even near them, they would, be affecting your frequency, helping purify you. Yeah, healing vortexes. Pyramids are very powerful in healing. But we see so much similarity with this kind of stuff. This has always been a journey. Doesn't matter if you're in Egypt or present day, it's always been a journey through your lower self, the lower aspects or facets of your soul, and you keep working on yourself as a soul and, seeing things you don't like and don't want to be like. You keep working on yourself, learning, evolving, and growing, and at some point you're going to come back into, oneness with the higher facets. It's about transcending duality. The Egyptians understood that if you had all of your chakras open and aligned, that you could transcend duality. And they talk a lot about how this lower self, which I can look at it like your ego, right? Lower self, higher self, different versions of yourself. And they would teach that you could only control the lower self through the higher one. Okay, so someone says, let's talk about reptilians. Perfect, same video. Perfect. We're going to talk about the lower self. They use a lot of, sometimes I've seen crocodile or alligator kind of pictures, right? The Egyptian and the crocodile or the alligator. We see the staff symbolism a lot. I don't know what the other one's called. It's like a flock. So staff and flock symbolism and things like that to represent the same concept. They talk about these things in Sumerian times too, right? Lizard overlords, they draw pictures of it. They use a lot of symbolism that's very familiar throughout different cultures in the world. I don't believe that these deities were meant to be taken literal, that they were more like symbolism. A way of speaking to the initiate in a way that we could understand, right? Pictures, symbolism, things like that. So that's the same journey that we're on, trying to conquer the lower versions of ourselves to become higher facets on every single level. China, they have dragons, yep. We want to transcend duality. Duality is good, bad, right, wrong. We need to understand everything's always going just in what way the soul needs. We have very individual lessons going on here, and we tend to have when we were asleep, really become our lessons, thought we were these lessons. Like if you had something happen to you, you really identified with it, not seeing past all that here. Do I suffer physical pain? No, I've transcended that. I used to when I was asleep, when I was on a lot of pharmaceuticals for pain and was on a lot of medications. So now I don't at all. If you're living in your light body, you won't feel pain anymore in the same capacity. Sometimes I feel aches and pains from this, ascension energy and what it's doing to my body, pulling things to the surface and purifying me, but not in the same capacity. That's the thing that we don't realize, that you can transcend the physical body and, activate and live in your light body. And that's very symbolic of the body, the pillars as well, things like that. And it really coincides with Kabbalah and a lot of other, global systems like that. So we really can transcend that physical 3D body and become multidimensional on every aspect. And once you do that, once you begin that DNA activation, you're not going to be sick or living in pain or feeling grief and separateness in the same regard at all. Those are 3D kind of lessons that our soul can actually outgrow. Everyone thinks we need light and dark and balance, and they talk about this, but we really don't. On some level, your soul can, learn to evolve without needing those hard kind of lessons. So pain, make sure you're taking, if you have physical pain, make sure you're taking a lot of vitamin B. Vitamin B regulates our nervous system, but it's also a red flag for metals. So for sure, take a ton of turmeric and chlorella. That'll really help detox all the garbage out of your body. And unfortunately, if you're in pain, they give you some more toxins generally. Right? Here's some more things that'll be bad for your body. On so many levels. So if you're someone that is, dealing with people around you that have chronic pain, or you're feeling pain, for sure, tons of detoxing with chlorella, turmeric, and tons of vitamin B. So let me think. I have a whole bunch I'm supposed to throw in here, right? I'm trying to remember. I have a whole bunch of stuff. Let me think real quick. Good morning. Timeline jumps. You might be losing your friends. People, I just look at it always like, yeah, your friends, your family, any person around you. It's always the universe anyway, in disguise most of the time, teaching us. And sometimes we just outgrow these lessons. It's Earth School. So, if we're doing this ascension path, we are going to lose the people around us. Sometimes they're no longer serving a purpose. People just come into our story for a minute, play their role, and they're meant to go. Learn to ebb and flow with the universe. Whenever, we lose someone on our timeline, amazing things will happen and new opportunities are opening. For sure, we're making lots of timeline jumps around us right now. We just hit March too. Things are going to move rapidly. Things are now going to move rapidly. Good. I'm just killing time to go to the rocks and hang out with my soul group anyway. So I'm really excited. Things are really going to start to move fast though as we progress into this equinox energy. It will make people feel better to take the turmeric and chlorella. Everyone's worried about let's get vaccines to prevent cancer. Okay, well, injecting yourself with deadly diseases and viruses is never a good idea, but I would say taking chlorella is probably a better alternative to that. We're made of water. I always say LJ purifies water. So in whatever level, it will pull all the garbage out of your body, any chemicals, and this planet is toxic AF. Toxic. This planet has long past reached toxic levels where we wouldn't see so much sickness, cancer, all the stuff we do around here. So while I'm breathing the air on this planet that is loaded with aluminum and nanonite particles and God knows what else. Oh, and lithium now. They're putting lithium in the air. I guess NASA came out and admitted to putting lithium in the air, but they're just trying to save the planet. As you know, they say it's global warming. I'm sure they sell it as a good idea. But I do know from having gone to college that if you're on medications like lithium, that metals can kill you. And that person needs, if you're inducing, that chemical into someone's body, that you need to do a lot of lab work and blood work to make sure that person doesn't die from, heavy metal overload or whatever. But they are very comfortable spraying it in the air now. I just put an article out last week and things like that. So the chlorella is a really good idea. I know that we can, become more health conscious, but you're not going to be able to avoid these toxins on whatever level. It'll make your energy levels go up once you do the detox part on it, and you're on it for a while too. Hi, Tara. Natasha, hit my inbox. I'll send you the vitamin list. If anyone needs it, just hit my inbox. I just cut and paste it to you. It's not pinned to this group. I'll put it on the video after. For sure, more vitamins. It's the best thing you can do for this ascension. More water too. You'll notice you're getting more dehydrated with this energy probably. We're getting flooded with influxes of galactic energy, which can be intense for people. That's why you see the real reason people are getting anxiety, level 500. It's not much to do with a geostorm. They're like, oh, it's just a geostorm. People get anxiety and start freaking out. More to do with the type of energy that's hitting the planet. It's galactic energy, and it's very high frequency. I believe we hit 84 hertz on the Schumann resonance yesterday. So we're seeing the Schumann resonance is going up like 20 hertz a day, and these frequency spikes too. It's going up rapidly. horrible migraines, more water whenever you're getting headaches. You know, those are signs that, number one, you could be around negative energy, but usually it's ascension upgrades going through this stuff. Pay attention to your body though. If you get a headache and you're around someone or hanging out with someone, usually it's a sign that that person could have some type of spiritual attachment. But you know, with these upgrades, we've been going through so many third eye activations this week too. They say this week is a week to level up, and it really is. So you know, a lot's going on energetically. More water, it'll really help. Swear to God. Reiki your water too. I'm reading this. I'm waiting for the whole planet to come ungrounded. It's what I live for anyway. I have a lot of work to do before Stonehenge. We have a lot of work to do, not just me. We have a lot of work to do before Stonehenge, so I've been making more grids and things like that. Massive memory recalls. Me too. I said that come join this group. I just did like a pre-recorded minute-long video I'm going to post after, like come join this mystery school group, and I put in there that it will bring back your memories. If you think you had a past life there, come join our group because it will help bring back and trigger that memory recall. On so many levels, to be around other people that were there and hold those activations on so many levels, it will really help. I'm smoking some more and then I'm going to do my real video. I wasn't really feeling videos, but I wanted to get on here and talk Egypt because you'll notice a lot of this symbolism is still buried throughout this matrix. I see so much symbolism in Europe. We went to Buckingham Palace. I'm checking the courts out, not by choice, but hey, I'm getting a good tour of their legal systems and courts, and I noticed they have Roman symbolism all over them, and some of it could be deemed as like satanic or evil. If you go ahead and like Google what these symbols mean, some of these Roman symbols mean, you know, they might not have the best meanings either on some of these buildings, these historical kind of places. There was a lot of blood spilled, right? You want to talk about enslavement. so we see these enslavement systems are very much still in place though, where they use government and churches and fear and control to kind of keep people at a low level of consciousness, asleep, working as slaves. It was everything wrong in past places that had just begun. I always say that we talk about, well, these people, they must be just asleep, right? I always think these doctors, you know, they think they're helping people and they're making things worse. They think they're playing hero, I'm sure, in their everyday lives. So you must think that, you know, the whole world's asleep, but clearly at the top of the pyramid, they're not. Because they have a lot of this knowledge that they're using on humanity, whether it is you watching their Super Bowl shows, their pharmaceuticals, anything that they're doing here has such a magic kind of component too. Glimpses of light. Yeah, as we're becoming more multidimensional, we're going to be seeing the multidimensional, seeing things that most people can't with our everyday eyes. We always see ships over Stonehenge too. I always say it's a no-fly area. I was telling Allie this, that the things I manifest, right? It's a no-fly area, but since I have certain abilities galactically, you know, I always see crafts over those areas too. So you're going to be able to see the interdimensional better and better. I always say the interdimensional has to show themselves to us. So we see a lot of orbs. That's real common in these aura pictures in some of our groups. We see tons of orbs. That is the interdimensional showing itself to you, that it has to choose to show itself. Like, there was no way in hell Roswell really would be just like aliens crashed on Earth. It would have been, you know, something orchestrated and planned out to get our attention. So I'm a little off topic, but why not? Francisco. So I see this article yesterday in 5D, which I would consider a reputable site, right? They put out like Ascension articles. I think it's a pretty big site, not sure, but it's a reputable site, right? They put out they put out an article saying we're gonna have a mass landing. Like, I think they said March 1st. Is that today? They were predicting some type of mass landing and extraterrestrial type of event, where we have crafts land on this planet and ships coming here today. And I was really excited by that. I told Francisco that the channels, the people that are channeling information galactically are going to start getting flooded with downloads about extraterrestrials coming here, because that's a very real probability that if enough people wanted that version of reality, we could actually manifest it. We can manifest anything we want. We're finding And I know it sounds really far-fetched and crazy, but this was something that actually happened, not just in Egyptian times, but in Atlantean times, where there was a physical mass landing on this planet. That's maybe where some of these god concepts came from, too. So I think that, you know, when we're going through the third dimension and this experience and separateness and at low frequencies, these are clearly things that we're not going to be seeing around us. It doesn't mean that they don't exist just because we can't see things, right? Doesn't mean that they're not real. And so what's happening is the frequencies are going up on this planet, and we're going to see some type of intergalactic merger with this planet and the rest of the universe, where this planet's been in this state of separateness and really disconnected from the rest of the universes and things like that. So as the frequencies are gonna keep going up, we're gonna see some kind of, you know, galactic merger of sorts. If you identify with the label Starseed, you're probably here gathering information, not just for you to learn, but an entire, you know, rest of your soul group, wherever you came from. So a lot of times if you are a Starseed, you will have, you know, the rest of your group that stayed back, watching through your experience to gather information and learn that way too. They talk about a time on this planet when humans lived with the gods. I'm posting this stuff in this group and I'm looking at these pharaohs. I'm looking at these deities that were teachers, galactic teachers, I think, the gods, right? I'm looking at these pictures of the gods and the pharaohs and this Egypt stuff, and I'm thinking, fuck, did we fall, right? We used to live like that. Let's just say we lived more godlike in these places, and we understood more of our spiritual connection, right? But when you look at some of this history, it's mind-blowing to me, because some of us were those teachers in these places. So it's kind of mind-blowing to me. Inner Earth. Oh my god, this whole planet is tunneled out, especially when I went to London, and I realized that when I had to, I went to the museum and I went to the bathroom, and it was like underground, down like all these stairs and all tunneled out like a mile away. But I noticed using the I guess you call them subways, right? The trains in London, that I noticed that it's all tunneled out too, right? I believe that about certain areas of the earth, Antarctica, Shasta, London, some of these areas have entire underground cities. I've seen footage of it. One of their Walmart FEMA camp centers where someone went in as a delivery driver and they had a camera on their, it was like a big, you know, U-Haul kind of truck, and they had a camera on their dashboard, and they go in this facility. It's a Walmart facility, and they go underground, and they have literally 2 lanes of traffic underground, like underground roads and cities and like entire everything under there. So I've seen actual footage. It's not that far-fetched. But a lot of this is symbolism. So people wake up and they're like, oh my god, we are powerless. Reptilians rule the world. There are giant lizards that are running this world, right? And they're taking this stuff very, very literal. Not that it was a region of the brain that kept us, you know, imprisoned to our lower self, and that we could activate our third eye or our pineal gland, moving to, you know, the more divine areas of the brain, becoming our higher self on so many levels. So we see a lot of this symbolism is taken literal. Look at the story of Jesus, right? So we can look at Jesus like the Horus story, right? Just rewritten. But back when they were worshiping these deities, such as Horus, Isis, Osiris, some of these gods, Thoth, they had a god, and this god had made a spiritual ascension and turned into a god, right? And they were trying to teach that, yes, people could become godlike and transcend this entire version of reality as we know it. So they weren't actually meant to be taken literal, like people weren't like, you know, worshiping Horus in the same way they're worshiping Jesus all over the world and turning over all their personal power to these deities on whatever level. So you can kind of see how things evolved out of Egyptian mythology and symbolism into nowadays, and everyone taking it very, very literally. So I see someone that's awake in our movements, and they're like, I'm going to keep eating meat because Jesus did. It's in the Bible. So people are using these books as a moral compass. I'm gonna do this because he did this, right? And I'm just like, oh man, right? I'm like, oh man, right? I know. So they weren't meant to be, taken as literal compasses on how to direct your morals, ethics, and how you're living your life. Let's see. Orion Wars. That sounds like modern day life. I'm reading the Sumerian tablets. They sound like the Orion Wars. They talk about lizards coming down from space and enslaving humanity by manipulating their DNA, shutting them down to 2 strands. And you'll notice that a lot of these Egyptian gods are found in Sumeria, like I said, India, Mayan places, the same kind of stuff, right? For sure, I feel like we're living in the middle of that, like Star Wars anyway, right? I feel like I'm living in the middle of a Star Wars movie anyway. You know that anything you can imagine is for sure real here and going on. Okay, am I smoking good weed? It's galactic glue. How appropriate, right? And you like these videos better. Me too. I'm more comfortable in these videos. I don't have all the weird people. I have 0 feed problems, disturbances. They're real smooth and easy for me to go. That's why I'm fucking off before I go to my real feed. Right now, I'm kind of dreading it. Kind of dreading it, right? Taking my time to go do my real videos. So I like these groups too. I can focus on things people want to hear more about. So if you guys have things you want to know more about, Atlantis, Lemuria, anything from these time periods, past life things you remember, for sure. What's the difference between a starseed and a light worker? I mean, I believe, what are people made of? Previously, carbon. We're changing to crystalline. What are stars made of? Carbon. Right? Some of the same ingredients. I believe we're all this divine energy. Call it what you want. And we're all made of stars. A starseed would be someone who had incarnations other places galactically before coming to Earth. And you're seeing that with this ascension, there's a lot of starseeds being sent here, especially with young kids. A lot of them are rainbow souls. Some of these rainbow souls would have never had an incarnation on this planet. And some of these souls might have a harder time adjusting to this place because they're not used to the things that go on here, coming from very evolved places galactically that don't deal with this kind of stuff. I believe we're all light workers and that we all evolve to the light on so many levels. We all go through this process of life and it brings us back to the light source on so many levels so that we can make this ascension. Light workers. Someone, that's been awakened can fit in both those categories. Not everyone's awake, you're noticing. So just the fact that we're awake means that we've been activated for a mission bigger than ourselves. Generally, starseeds are activated. So usually the people that are awake right now would have some type of, galactic mission that they're here doing. Those starseeds come together from all different places, all different backgrounds, right? All different everything, but with one kind of mission of unity in mind, coming here to make the world a better place, service, things like that. So, it's powerful that I'm finding you guys because you didn't come here alone. You would have, we would have, before we incarnated here as a collective group, would have kind of divvied out the lessons that we have. Like as one consciousness group, you guys have this amount of set lessons that you guys need to do. And we would have divided up those lessons, made our life plans, and here we are. We kind of did what we had to do, clearing this collective karma. We've reached this place where we've been activated, we've been awakened for our mission, which is something bigger than ourselves. And, I always say that to me, the only thing that's real in this matrix is my soul group. I look at it like a holographic reality. Holographic reality, and we are living in a time with a lot of artificial intelligence capability. Could you see where things could go wrong, right? Living in a holographic reality and coming back to technology, what could go wrong, right? Here we are. So I think that things aren't what they seem around here. That's the only thing that I'm feeling is real to me on so many levels lately. That's why I put all my time into that consciousness group and gathering it and trying to find it. Reading the comments, right? This is a liberation. We've been enslaved since these times. Yeah, stuck here the whole cycle. We came here to make things better, during past times, and we kind of got stuck here and trapped here this entire cycle, and now this is our soul's liberation, and it's been a long time coming. And I always try to remind people that, you know, we were ready for this long before we were born on so many levels. People wake up and feel like, you know, they must have a lot to learn or understand. No, you have everything you need with just what you remember this life to do this. Hi, Dale. I'm just doing my usual coffee break before my video. Talking Egypt, though. Like a projector, I know, right? I know all about that. Ha ha ha. Yeah. You'll find benevolent and malevolent beings in every race. That's why it's very important that we're being careful what we channel, right? I like to do lots of boundaries around me. I'm a channel, right? I don't want to be channeling certain things. So I make it clear in my own journey that I'm always willing to channel and work with any benevolent entities that are trying to assist humanity. I make that very clear. I feel like I try to avoid people that say they're channeling archangels, Jesus, Mary. You get the idea. I see some of these channelings as a channel, and then I see the things people are channeling. It doesn't matter. Sometimes Pleiadians, things like that. I just kind of try to stay clear of that. We're all channels, right? Our frequency determines what we're channeling. How did we get trapped? By choosing not to wake up the collective and to enslave everyone. Yeah, we played a big role in this too. I could see why though. Trying to do it again, trying to be at this place again. You should have a deja vu about where we're at. Waking up and then having the decision of what to do with our abilities and how to best proceed at this point. So that's why everyone should be waking up with a much different attitude and a pull towards healing and helping wake up other people, trying to serve, trying to help. Misuse of abilities. Okay, Lorna bought a copper pyramid. I saw Allie got one too. I saw, I'm like, I'm trying to think, someone's bringing one to the rocks. Joanne's bringing one to the rocks, I think. I saw Joanne on a post saying she wants to bring hers to the rocks, right? I thought that was epic. Yeah, for sure. Copper is powerful. We see a lot of the certain themes with certain materials being used during those times. And copper is so powerful for creating kind of like a porthole. I think of it like an energy vortex point. It creates a powerful energy. You know, I just set mine up and, you know, seal it in or whatever, and it creates a powerful kind of energy. They're very, very powerful for healing. Even the little orgonite, the orgone kind with copper in them, the pyramids are very powerful. I have a bunch in my bedroom, like the little ones. Very powerful. They amplify Reiki that you're doing too. Same with any kind of crystals, but the orgone pyramids are really good for Reiki, and so are the copper ones. My friend was like, she had a hangover in California. She wasn't feeling good. Too much booze, right? And I made her, with much non-compliance, go sit in my pyramid I had there, and it like instantly took away her headache and healed her just sitting in it for like 5 minutes. So they're really, really powerful for healing. They're really powerful for Reiki attunements too. In California, we have one in our yoga place, and you know, we would have the person lie on the Reiki bed, and whoever was sending the attunement would sit in it and send it, and they're very powerful for amplifying energy that you're sending through Reiki, through attunements, things like that. Oh, they work crazy. Do they work? Look at the pyramids on the ley lines. Do they work? Yeah, everyone's like, oh, crystals. Yeah, they laugh about crystals, right? Silly rocks. Okay, they destroyed an entire utopia, but hey, right? I think they're powerful as fuck. And people are like, do pyramids work? Well, let's look at the pyramids on the ley line structures. They appear to be working because, I mean, there have been these structures on these ley line grids forever. People say Stonehenge is like 5,000 years old. I mean, if this cycle has been going on 75,000 years, they're older than that. So, but this grid, this consciousness grid that goes across the world and is on these has these structures on it, has never been turned on before us ever. while individual structures can draw on, you know, the vortex energies from that area. So I'm not saying they weren't functional, like the pyramids and Stonehenge each have their purpose. It's never been turned on as a singular grid until we came here. We're the ones lighting that grid up, that we've really plugged back into it, and us just vibrating is turning on that grid for the first time in a very long time. It's never been operational ever. Oh yeah, they're so amazing. I want to put one outside so bad, but you know, the weather's all windy and rainy here every day, and I'm worried it'll blow away. I'm worried it will blow away. I want to try to figure out how to put one outside in the garden bad. It's good to have separate areas to meditate aside from where you sleep. It's like they say that when you're doing your homework in high school, don't do your homework on your bed, because your brain has been trained that that is an area to rest and to sleep. So you should have separate meditation areas other than where you sleep. Hi, Brad. This house is like a sun trap. It's actually really gorgeous in the summertime because the sun comes right across like my garden yard. So it's a complete sun trap where the sun is just in the summertime always in this room. So I put my pyramid right where the sun hits in this house the most. So every day the sun's going to hit the pyramid too, and it's really powerful too to have it in the sun. It really helps. I have the plastic tent over it. I'm getting kind of sick of it though. Like I want to take it off to have it open. So I can do some pyramid aura pics maybe, but so copper is powerful for the pyramids. You definitely want to use copper. You don't want to use any metal connectors. It'll weaken the connection. I'm the same way. I can wear copper jewelry, but I cannot wear metal in my energy field anymore. Like any kind of metal will do weird things to my energy a lot of the time. So I can't have metal on my clothes or like metal jewelry anymore since I woke up. Hi, I'm just wrapping up my video. I just wanted to send you guys some good vibes. We do have a space storm in progress, but it's our week to rest, so you guys should be treating it like that. We need to integrate. I wasn't really feeling like videos. I'm going to push past it and do them, but we should be taking some time to integrate. We're going through a lot of upgrades fast this week. And so, you know, if you guys are, you know, feeling like you don't want to vibe and want to be alone, go ahead and do it. You know, listen to your body, drink a ton of water too with this energy. So we're seeing that the energy cycles are changing. I've been watching them since the first of the year. And I know they say it's due to the eclipses. I think it's permanent and just ascension. And so I'm watching the energy cycles. It's how I learn them, right? So I can better flow with them and use them for my mission because I need the right energy to do this crazy stuff. So I'm paying attention to these energy cycles since the beginning of the year. We usually have the space storm, a week off to rest, another storm, so on and so forth. And I'm noticing that we're getting hammered with energy during our week of rest. Most of this energy is coming in at night when we're sleeping. Yeah, individualized ascension lessons. If you're nocturnal, you're probably getting it when you're sleeping. Individualized energy. I know we think we lived in this, you know, same reality for everyone. So, you know, it's pretty personalized, but we're getting the huge influxes of energy a lot of the time when we're sleeping. It could be giving you more crazy dream experiences, waking you up more during the night, making it so you can't fall asleep, making you wake up really dehydrated, not realizing it. You know, just all sorts of kind of crazy things going on. We're definitely going through crazy third eye upgrades this week too. If you're getting headaches in your frontal lobe, more water, more Reiki, it'll really help with that. We're going through a lot of solar energy and galactic energy. What is happening is, and it was so crazy, I got some crop circle magnets here. I threw away some magnets on the fridge and put some of my own magnets up, right? And it took me a minute to manifest some crop circle magnets too, right? Impossible to find. So I got some Egypt crop circle magnets on my fridge, and I'm trying to look for some good pictures this morning of Stonehenge and crop circles, and I ran into an article. I didn't read it, but the universe is always just communicating with me through things I see, and it was something on crop circles being binary code, which, there you go, speaking my language, right? Binary code. And so I look at these crop circles as an activation. It's going to be so powerful to be going to find one a little bit. It's warming up. It's spring. I'm so thrilled now. And so you can look at these like activation codes. Well, we're getting flooded with this galactic energy and it's hitting our DNA, but it's not just energy. It's encoded. It is like encoded energy. It's full of those binary codes, and it is sending codes to your DNA, and it is upgrading and activating your DNA. Any type of these ascension symptoms, whether it's you can't move, you know, timeline glitches like you're losing friends, you know, headaches, stomach issues, purging, things like that, all signs that your DNA is being activated. Love it. I'm using the law of one. I hate to go against it, but I did debunk it by going to Stonehenge and seeing the Easter Island rock in person. So they do talk about a lot of things that aren't true. I do look at it like a negative entity channeling. I want to remind people that one of the key team players, right? They were a team of a research group, and one of the key team players killed themselves. He was having a lot of issues. The same with the other channel, the woman Carla who was channeling things. He ended up killing himself. So those are signs that, you know, you have entity attachments. I believe that that was channeled by negative entities. You can't convince me otherwise. When I went and saw Stonehenge myself, the frequencies, and went and investigated this stuff, right? Question everything. Like Francisco said, even the things we're talking about, question everything. You're creating your reality. You gauge what is true, what isn't true, right? So I did debunk a lot of it, but I did take some concepts out of it that I'm still talking about. They do talk about mass landings as well. They're not the only source of information that talks about mass landings that would have occurred, you know, last time around Egyptian times. So use your discernment with these channels. All right, I'm getting off of here. I gotta really stop screwing off. Go get my day in order. For sure, be listening to your body. You're probably feeling a pull to rest, to recharge, to integrate. You know, we're getting a lot of downloads fast. Your body's going through a lot. So for sure, more water. It'll help speed up your ascension too. I'm drinking water like that every single day if I can, right? Chugging tons of water, taking my vitamins. But you can see it's speeding up my ascension process, that we're going through this physical transformation and ascension process, becoming lighter and lighter. Our aura is changing, our energy fields, and it will really help flush any lower energies out, toxins out, purge anything out a lot faster if you're chugging lots of water. So for sure, step up your water. We don't realize that with these influxes of energy coming in at night, we're getting really dehydrated during the night. We're sleeping like whatever amount of time you're sleeping, maybe 6 to 8 hours average a person, right? Maybe 5 to 8 hours, we'll say. But you're sleeping a night and you're not drinking water and you're getting blasted with ascension energies, galactic energies, which your body's not really used to. I'm getting used to it now as I'm learning to ebb and flow with these space storms, and I can handle galactic energy the best now, but people aren't used to it. When we do galactic healing on people, oftentimes it's too intense for them, they say. And so that's what I'm seeing happen with these energies, that as these spikes are happening and these influxes of energy, it's too intense for people. They don't know how to vibe with that galactic frequency. But for the starseeds and the light workers, it's amazing. We came from places of galactic frequencies, and that's what we're trying to get this planet back to, on so many levels. So for sure, more water, more time meditating. Try to work on getting a lot of sleep this week. I'm not sure when the next new moon is, right? I'm not sure. We're going to have a new moon in Pisces next, and until that new moon, you have a good window to rest and sleep. It might not feel like it with these energy shifts and spikes going on, but this is the best time to be tuning into your dreams, meditating, recharging your soul, and getting ready for this next, you know, ascension upgrade that's coming. We have an intense month this month. As soon as that new moon kicks things off, we're going to have that and back to back right into, you know, the next full moon storm and equinox without really a rest. So for sure, use this little window that we have to recharge yourself. And I'm going to let you go.